Hey, Tamara. Hey, Branson. How y'all doing?
I'm doing
Hello,
fine.
how are you?
All right. It stopped raining where you guys are? Hey, Tamara. Hey, Branson. How y'all doing? Oh, sorry. Hold
I'm
on.
doing
Hello, how
fine.
are you?
Sorry. Hold on a second. Let me figure out how to stop raining where you guys are. Hey, Tamara. Hey, Branson. How y'all doing? Oh, sorry. Hold
I'm
on.
doing fine.
Sorry. Hold on a second. There we go. All right.
Yeah, it's finally stopped for a little bit right now.
Yeah, same here. It's pretty nuts, I have to say. It's probably the rainiest I can remember. Of course, every time you have that experience, you say that. I don't know if it's true or not, but it feels like it. A ton of rain.
Yeah, the creek by me is like filled up, so we're kind of at the place where we don't need any more rain.
Yeah. Is there more? Are they calling for more at this point?
I believe so.
Oh boy. Get your oars ready, right?
Well, it's for the back. Well, the front part of my neighborhood floods, so it's never came this far back. But it's supposed to come down heavy Friday and Saturday. So
Oh geez. Well, if we can avoid the wind, that will certainly help.
yeah,
Wind is what I always worry about. Hey, Elena, how are you?
How are you?
I'm doing good.
I'm glad. The other day, I apologized that I missed class, and it was because I had some customers and I couldn't, just tell them to leave, but that
No,
was
no
the
problem.
problem.
Yeah, no
Okay.
problem. You can catch up with the recordings anytime you want. So now,
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Where can I find them?
if you go to acceleraterural.org and click on member resources,
Okay.
you'll see a YouTube icon, and
Okay.
they're all there. Should be.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. When are you going live with your jewelry? I can't wait to see that. I think Elena can do really well with jewelry. All right. Is that you, Chris Neal, or is that you, Hayden?
Recording in progress.
Who is that? Who's Chris? I'm sorry.
You don't know me?
I can't see your head. It's just glasses. Yeah, now I see.
Oh, hey.
I've never seen Chris with glasses on before.
Yeah, he wears glasses. That's how he hides from people. They think he's Clark Kent.
Oh,
Huh.
super farmer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I need
super
them.
farmer.
I need them every now and then. And bad years we're having, shit, we need them all the time.
Yeah, I have to wear mine to read, and so I just leave them on all the time. But they're just reading glasses.
I
That's
need to, but
what I tell myself anyway. Just reading glasses.
yeah, well, it's just aggravating.
Yeah. Hey, John Arnold, how are you today? John's still joining. Chris, you and John need to talk.
Okay.
John's the guy doing the farmers market on Pop Shop Live.
Okay.
I think you guys should talk sometime.
This
You hear us,
afternoon,
John?
do that.
Hey, John. He's connecting here. Hamster's turning on the wheel,
I think we'll let John and Hayden talk. I'll be involved, but I'm
Yeah.
gonna kind of back up out of this deal a little bit and let him handle majority of it.
Yeah, no problem.
I'll be in the background and I'll still be there, but you know what I'm saying. It's just, and this is going to be his baby, so.
Yeah, Hayden just joined, so he's joining the party right now. That's good. How you doing today, John Arnold?
Doing great, Dennis. I hope you are.
Yeah, doing well. Hayden and Chris Neal are going to reach out to you because I think they might be interested in being on your show with some of their products.
Oh, great. Okay. That sounds good.
Yeah. If, they might have to take a boat, to get to your place. They've got a lot of water.
Yeah, I know they're having a rough time over there. I feel sorry for them.
It's killing us, I'm going to tell you.
Yeah. No fun.
John, can I get your number to give you a call this afternoon by chance?
Just put it in chat, John.
Okay, sure will.
That way, and Chris, you can get it right off the chat.
Okay, thank you.
Will do.
Just in case there's secret agents listening in, we don't want them to see your number,
I understand.
God only knows who's on this. I keep waiting for some crazy person come on here and start screaming at us. So far it hadn't happened. But Zoom just paid out $85 million to people who had maniacs enter their Zoom meetings without permission. And so they had to pay $85 million. But it only works out to $25 per account.
Sorry.
I don't think I'll bother, applying for that.
Are we already selling John stuff? What's that orchard? What's the name of it stuff? What's the name of John's stuff?
Cherry Orchard
Dennis.
Foods.
Cherry Orchard Foods. Okay. I know we had something similar. We have a Heaven's Orchard in the store.
I got you.
Heaven's Gates. That's okay.
Thanks, John, for the info.
Yeah, thanks, John.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. So the star of the show is here, and I get to brag about my friend Andy. Hey, Andy, how are you?
Hey, Dennis, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, thanks.
Good to
So,
see you.
yeah, good to see you. Thanks for coming to our humble little event or whatever we do here. So Andy Kurtt is a longtime friend, has a son, Arlo, who loves our farm. So I always think of him whenever I'm out there feeding the horses or something. But Andy is really one of the top packaging guys in the country. And when I say packaging guys, it's more about design and understanding really what works in the marketplace. And I'm going to let you, Andy, give all your bona fides, but I've worked with Andy myself on a brand that we were working on, and I learned so much from him, and I continue to bother him even though I'm no longer a paying customer. So Andy, with that, I'm going to introduce you to our latest class of Accelerate Rural. We have some folks that are in the specialty food business and are particularly interested in what you have to say, and others who may not be as directly interested, but certainly will love to hear about how they should do packaging. So
Sure.
let me make you co-host, and hopefully you can control the experience. So I'm going
Dennis?
to turn it over to yes, Grant.
Sorry,
Oh,
to
you're-
interrupt. You make me co-host too.
I didn't see you. I will. There you go. I didn't see you, Grant. You snuck up on me. So, okay. So Andy, I'm going to let you take it away, and I'm going to be quiet.
Okay, thank you so much. So, welcome everybody. Thanks for logging in and listening to me chat for a little bit today. So the last time I did a presentation for the class, we just sort of winged it, and I just sort of tried to present stuff that would be relevant to the group, while sort of sharing some new work and some other stuff that we're working on. But I don't have like a formal presentation put together because I like it to be.
Yay, we're happy.
I like it to be sort of informal and just to, as questions pop up, please feel free to interrupt me. But I'll start with some of our background. So our company is called Buttermilk Creative. We're based up here in Greensboro, and we've had Buttermilk Creative for about over 6 years now. Before starting Buttermilk Creative, my wife and I worked at the Fresh Market, also headquartered here in Greensboro. And during my 7 years there, I ran the in-house design department. So we did everything from, supporting the business with signs and brochures and catalogs and things like that, but then also doing a lot of their private brand packaging design. And that's really where the sort of inspiration for Buttermilk Creative came from, was that I really enjoyed doing that and learning about all the different products and then how to show what's inside in the design, in the packaging design, and it stand out on the shelf and resonate with customers. And so that's really what I love to do there. So that was my focus when I left Fresh Market to start Buttermilk Creative. And then my wife, Nicole, who's the studio director here, she ran the store design department. So any kind of like remodels or just any kind of new layouts that need to be explored or anything like that, her team would handle that. So she brings some interesting insight into the work around, just sort of being a step away from like the day-to-day like I am. And so she can sort of wear the client's hat, but then also sort of a shopper's hat. And she just so happens our age group is sort of that age group that we're sort of aging out of it a little bit, but we also are a bit of a target audience for a lot of our clients. So we can sort of, view things through that lens too. We're sort of old millennials.
It's better being an old baby boomer, I'll tell you that.
Soon we'll be running things by my 8-year-old saying, what do you think about this? Would you buy this? But yeah, so we've been doing Buttermilk for the past 6 years, working with clients. We say sort of small to medium large, and we say in the specialty food and beverage industry versus CPG, because I think CPG sort of has this connotation of like a Kraft or a Coca-Cola or some of these larger conglomerates. And we really work with very small companies that have some traction and have been out there for a little while and either need a refresh or just need some new design, or they want to be built from the ground up. And I'll show you guys some examples of those brands that we've actually launched since the last class. So Dennis, this will be new stuff for you too.
Yeah, I'll pay attention.
Exactly. Any questions so far?
Could you just tell what CPG means?
Yeah, it's consumer packaged goods. Okay. So that's sort of the jargon is that you'll see out there, CPG. The other one, what is FMCG, I think, fast moving consumer goods. That's another one. But really CPG is sort of that sort of catch-all phrase for food industry out there, especially with like, with the investor set or the VC set, the venture capitalists, they'll talk about CPG and what, or fintech and that kind of stuff. So, but really our focus is specialty food and beverage. And you can just imagine what that looks like. So CPG is maybe a Target or a Walmart, those are the products that are there. Specialty food and beverage is more like Trader Joe's, Fresh Market, these sort of more boutique type of places. But as we see, like Walmart and these bigger and Target are getting more and more specialty stuff. So the lines are definitely blurring. And it's been interesting to see the bigger companies start to dabble in the specialty food world, specialty food and beverage world. But we belong to a couple of organizations within the industry. So there's a National Specialty Food Association that normally puts on a 2 food shows a year, one on the West Coast and one in New York, called the Fancy Food Shows. Those are good shows to go to if you're an exhibitor, because you get in front of a lot of buyers, and that's usually where those deals are made with buyers and brokers and distributors and things like that. And then we also belong to the North Carolina Specialty Food Association, just so we sort of have we're aware of the issues and the opportunities that our clients are going through, even if it's stuff that we don't have any control over, like supply chain or ingredient shortages, whatever is going on, sort of rippling throughout the industry. We sort of are aware of, so that we can just try and help them, or just understand what they're going through and empathize with what they have going on, versus how we used to conventionally think, which was join a bunch of design organizations. And it just doesn't, we're not able to really have visibility on what's going on in our clients' lives. So that's an important sort of part of the puzzle for us.
Just so you know, Andy, we have a number of members of the North Carolina Specialty Food Association in this class.
Excellent.
Ruth Taylor, let's see, John, you're in that, I believe, John Arnold. And I'm sure there's others, but right off the top of my head, I know that's 2 folks that are active in that group.
Great. Yeah. I'd love to be more active in it. But really just, I think it's just important to pay dues and whenever they email me about stuff, answer them. But yeah, obviously, I hope that, someday in the near future, we can all sort of start to get together and do trade shows and that kind of stuff. We're actually tentatively going to go to, there's a really big, other really big trade show that happens within the food and beverage world are the expos. There's Expo West and Expo East. And they have, the group that puts that on has, they didn't do Expo West, obviously, this in the spring, which is normally when it happens. Expo East is normally in the fall, and they're going to be doing that in Philly in September. So we're they're still holding it, with everything going on. So we're tentatively going to go there and walk the show and sort of get back into doing trade shows. So hopefully that'll go well.
Have you ever done?
I can't hear whoever is that you, Chris? Yeah.
Have you ever done flavors?
Chris, maybe drop your question in the chat. It was sort of breaking up.
Flavors of Got to Be NC. That's a good show to do.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. For sure. All right. So I'll jump into some new work that we've been doing and sort of walk you through showing the work, and then you can sort of see, that'll sort of show you all the type of stuff that we do. So I'm going to share my screen. And this particular client we talked about it a lot at the last class. So I'm going to show, can everybody see that?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So this is Whitley's Peanuts. They are based in Virginia, and they came to us a couple of years ago for a redesign, and I will show you so you can see some of the new stuff now. Let me open a new tab and show you some of what we sort of did to revamp their stuff. So let's go to images. Hopefully we can find some old stuff. Yeah, so here's a perfect example. So here's their old, it's this gray layout. And then here's their new one, which is white with that band. And so really what they needed, they hadn't updated in over 10 years. So it was time. for them to update their look. But then also they took the opportunity to refresh their logo and then also rethink how they were going about adding products, because they had a ton of products. They have over 200 products, and a lot of that is because of the different sizes that they have. But it's also, they have, chocolate coated things. So they have a candy category. They have the mixed nuts. They have a sweet category, like, honey roasted and things like that. So we really helped them, and their old packaging really didn't have much differentiation. It was hard to tell the difference between the various categories. So we really worked with them to try to figure out, okay, we've got to make a nice design, and then we have to create a new system that you can then plug and play in the future as you add more products and things like that. So what we came up with was this, like I said, this very, the old design was gray and sort of washed out. It didn't have much shelf presence, especially when you had a whole group of them. They have 3 retail stores, so you could go, and they're in some grocery stores. So you could see, when they're all on the shelf, it was very boring. So we really wanted to create some color and excitement on the shelf, but then also reference back to a lot of their existing packaging. This is a 30-plus-year-old company, so we couldn't do anything too drastic. Their target audience is not, Gen Zers, who are on TikTok. It's an older demographic, but we also needed to appeal to a younger demographic as well. So just trying to sort of bridge that, make something that looks fresh and nice, but it's not going to alienate their core current customers. So, we came up with this system of, you can see there's that color band, which that is the category. And then these little badges here it's like the flavor call out. So, in this case, what you're looking at here is the seasoned category. So this needed to have a bunch of different colors associated with all the different flavors. Not all of them look like that. Most of them look like this. So like you have the badge, the flavor badge is always red. So, this is a mixed nut. It's the green category, and it's unsalted or salted with that little badge there. So you can sort of see all the various products that they have.
Hey, Andy, how long did it take you guys to do this from start to finish?
It took about a year and a half.
Okay.
So we started with the logo, and we started even before that with like research and brand strategy with them. So we went up and visited them they're right outside of Williamsburg. So it was an easy drive up there. So we went and visited with them a couple times and sort of, tried to understand what the history, but then also the aspirational goals that they had. And then we pulled together did some very light survey and research to sort of figure out and understand who their current core customer is and then who their aspirational customer is. And we sort of mapped out those personas. And then we had that as a lens. As we would look at designs, we had that context as a lens, so that it wasn't, we really try to remove the subjectivity out of these design projects, because design is in the eye of the beholder. Yeah. And, if you have a very strong founder or CEO, a strong personality who doesn't understand that they need to remove themselves from that part of the decision-making, then it can get very hard to accomplish anything. So if you have that data to really say sorry, you don't like, a deep maroon red, but it does resonate with your core customer, and so I'm way oversimplifying it, but that's sort of, that's why that work is important in understanding who you're talking to, because you as the founder, it's not necessarily you who you're speaking to in your audience.
Right. Very good.
So, as you can see, we wanted to keep it somewhat conservative and traditional, but still needed to freshen things up. And I think we accomplished that with this project. And they've gotten really good. It's been out for a while now, over about 2 years now, and they've gotten really good. There a lot of anecdotal stuff from their customers. No one thought, his worry, the owner Todd, his worry was that they do the redesign and all his core customers would think they were bought by some big conglomerate because it looked too slick or whatever.
Yeah.
But that hasn't happened. I mean, there was also a strategy around introducing the redesign. So we sort of walked people through what was happening. You're going to be getting some mixed cases in your order, some of the new designs, some of the old, and sort of helping people understand where we were coming from and why we redesigned.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it was a bear, and you can sort of start to see there's all their Virginia peanuts. So each of these products have different sizes: 10 ounce, 12 ounce, 24 ounce, 40 ounce. There's also within here different substrates. So that's another thing to think about when you're designing a larger product offering, because his salted Virginia peanuts are the biggest seller. He does printed tins for that. So he just has a bunch of tins printed up with the design. For his smaller runs, these, for instance, like this Wits Party Mix, these are printed labels. So he has a bunch of blank tins, metal tins, that he then runs through the label machine as, whatever he's filling in there. So we had to make sure that all the color, a lot of coordination between different manufacturers and printers to make sure everything looks consistent, because all of this can be sitting on the shelf at the same time. He also does, I don't know if they have a picture. Yeah, here you go. He also does these pouch bags. That was a new offering for him. So we helped them sort of think through that format and that design, translating this traditional sort of tin design that he's had into, which is a more horizontal design, to something that's more vertical. All right. Here is a new, and I'll say also, we designed this packaging as well as this website. You can tell because I'm this little black bar at the top is me logged into the WordPress backend, but we also do that too. We've and especially with the pandemic and everything, just everybody shifting to digital and trying to do more D2C type of stuff, direct to consumer. We've done a lot more websites lately. So it's been fun to try to, figure out, obviously packaging design is very physical and real, and then translating that sort of practice into the virtual world. But this is a client. So they are a authentic Greek yogurt, and I'm sure everyone's saying, do we really need another Greek yogurt out there? There's so many of them. But these folks are neat. They are actually from Greece. It's a husband wife. They're based in Winston-Salem, and but the husband is originally from Greece. His wife Dina is half Greek, half American. So it's authentic. They're not going to put out anything out there that's just not good. It also has cultures from the Isle of Crete. And so when you think about, and I'm not bad mouthing Chobani because I love Chobani, but Chobani, which is normally what we think, oh, that's Greek yogurt, is actually Turkish yogurt. And it's, there's small little distinctions. Another one that's out there, it's spelled Oikos. It looks like oikos, but it's actually ecos, pronounced ecos. That is actually not Greek yogurt at all. It's positioned as Greek yogurt, and Yoplait or whoever puts it out there is sort of trying to ride that wave. in the popularity of Greek yogurt, but it doesn't actually have any of the like traditional strained. Like if you really want something authentic, it's Fayet. That's what you're looking for. So these folks are sort of in that same vein. So as you can imagine, the Greek yogurt set and the yogurt set in general is very, it's I don't know, there's a lot of white, and there's not a lot of color, and it's just sort of a boring set when you think about the dairy set, which is a whole nother thing that we do. When we start a project, we try to visit a lot of stores to really understand where these products are going to sit on the shelf. And then we'll take pictures, or we'll get a planogram, which is like a map of the shelf. And we will actually place our designs with the competition to really understand what is this going to look like when it's next to a whole brand block of Chobani. What's it going to look like when it's next to Yoplait? What's it going to look like when it's next to whoever, and so Fayet. And so that's really where this design came from. This like deep, when you think of Greece, you think of the blue doors, you think of the blue domes, you think of the blue sea, the Mediterranean that's out there. So that's really what we've tried to capture here. And then this name, Meltemi, is actually is the name of a particular type of winds that come over, I think in the springtime maybe, but it's basically like the Santa Ana winds of California. Now it's like this very strong wind, these like trade winds. They're famous, at least amongst the Greeks. So that's where this the name came from. And also where this sort of like design came from. It's meant to be sort of like an abstract overhead of the Greek Isles. So there's that ocean blue, and then there's this sort of green land there, and then when you look at the yogurt set, it's sometimes it's the way that they portray the fruit and the flavors is sometimes very realistic. Or, in Chobani's case, they do like these very like whimsical sort of like watercolor illustrations. So we really wanted to do something that was different than what everyone else was doing. So we went with this like very like almost sort of retro, sort of like cut paper, very organic shaped, flat organic shapes for the flavors.
I think it looks fantastic.
Thank you. And you can go to I think they're in Lowe's Foods. You can go find them there, and they're slowly but surely getting out in the world. But you can see like in the website, we've tried to carry over, a lot of these elements from the packaging into the website. So there's in the footer, there's this sort of organic edge that is meant to repeat, this green part of the packaging. The header, you can see that the header navigation doesn't have a solid straight line like most websites do. It has that sort of organic shape. Even on the homepage, we tried to carry that over into here, and add some of that illustration back into it. Like there on some Greek yogurt websites, there's plenty of illustrations of Greece. Stock photos of Greece. So we just created illustrations of Greece. And so that was sort of our way to sort of show Greece, but not do it like everyone else. And then there's some fun things you can see, like there's some motion in the little fruit as you scroll, just to try to bring that stuff to life.
Is this a premium price brand?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. And then this is another, so this is a brand I worked on, and it was interesting. So similar to Dennis's accelerator, there's another accelerator in Austin called SKU, SKU. And they've been around for 10 years. They help launch a lot. Like Austin is known as a big hotbed of innovative food and beverage companies. So like one of their more famous like alumni from SKU is Siete Foods, and Deep Eddy Vodka, some other, I don't know, I'm just trying to think about other sort of famous ones that are, I mean, they're famous within like the Whole Foods crowd. But anyways, I was on a mentor team with the guy who, the founder for this brand, Ha. And during the 11 weeks that we worked with him, and you work with them on a lot of stuff. I just helped advise on like design and packaging and brand, but he also has like a finance mentor, an operations mentor, all this kind of stuff. So over that time, he rebranded himself from, let me see if I can find his old packaging. So he used to be called Macro Snacks. And he had this like very, almost clinical. Yeah, here you go. So there's a perfect example. So you see, he had an almost clinical look to it, you know, and it spoke to a person who counts their macros and goes to the gym and is really focused on their health. And what over that span of time, during the SKU accelerator class, we realized that he was leaving a whole nother group of people out of the equation, which were people who just like to snack and eat really good stuff, but they didn't really care that, you know, their macros were being met. So this packaging didn't speak to that set of folks. So what we did was we created a whole new brand for him and designed his new logo, the new packaging. And, you know, we sort of, as a group, came up with his new brand name, which is Ha, Healthier Alternative, because his whole thing is like, he loves the snack, he loves Cheetos, he loves Doritos, but he hates the way he feels afterwards. So this is a healthier alternative to those snacks. You can still snack and feel good and you know, still have that sort of like sensation, but you're not going to feel like crap afterwards. And, you know, it's got 11 grams of protein and only 140 calories. So it's really, you know, really fulfills the need for healthy people who are looking for that. But it also speaks to a broader population who just wants to eat good snacks. So that was fun to sort of go through that process of like helping a founder who had invested a lot of time and energy in building a particular brand and sort of a way of thinking about his brand, and turning it on its head and saying, no, what you've been doing all along has been wrong, because you're leaving so much money on the table without speaking to this other group of people. And then it was fun to sort of go through the exploration of sort of trying to map out, okay, well, you know, what do we want it serious? Do we want it fun? Do we want it, is it too young? Is it too old? You know, like just go through all that, the whole time thinking about the chipset at Whole Foods, which is where he really wants to be, or any other, you know, sort of specialty grocery store, or even Target, you know, really thinking about where are the visual opportunities within that set. You know, you think about Cheez-Its, they sort of own orange and red, and other big brands that he's going after. We're sort of trying to create the counter to all those, both visually and how he communicates as a brand. So that's why we went with this you know, dark purplish blue bag. And he just launched, he's fundraising on Republic, and he within his first 7 days he raised over like 40K, and then he's just like, since he's sort of launched in the past like month or so, he's been fulfilling like, I don't know, 70 or 80 orders a day, which was normally for him, that was about a week's worth. So it's proving to be successful for him, you know, the sort of work that we did to help him.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So I've been talking for a long time. So I hope that I've shown everyone a good array of sort of what we've been doing. And then, you've seen some new stuff that we've just launched. But I'd love to open up the floor and sort of see what, if anyone has any questions, or I can pull up specific examples if anyone has any questions about formats or anything like that.
Okay, anybody?
Hi, this is Ruth. I have a question.
Hey, go for it.
So I'm going through really pain with COVID and the jar supply. And so I had to start with a different jar last year in fourth quarter. And it turned out to be a silver lining that I had used kind of a short squatty jar. I was able to move to a tall thin jar. My customers love it. They love
Cool.
the way it looks on the shelf. The jam shows. It's beautiful. All right. Now enter in part 2 of COVID and the supply chain is messed up again.
Sure.
I can't get, if I can get a tall jar with one type, I can't get the lid. Or if I can get the lid, I can't get the jar. Net is that I'm now having to use the tallest jar I can find is actually a honey jar. That in my jars that I like are tall, cylindrical. I had to go with a honey jar, which is the same height. It's a little bit smaller jar. It's a little bit of a rounded pyramid shape. Anyway, it's just, I've had to change colored lids again because it's all I can find. So how do you handle that from a branding perspective?
Oh gosh. Well, kudos to you for just chasing it down. I mean, what else are you going to do? But like, I've heard some folks who hit these roadblocks and get very discouraged. So that's great that you are just like chasing these things down and are able to transition and pivot from just a sort of an abstract way of thinking. Now, as far as from a branding perspective, I mean, as long as and it's difficult, like you said, like the jar, especially with like a jam, the jar plays such an important role along with the label and the design. And so, if you can have unique shapes, that helps your branding and it helps you stand out. And so you're having to change a lot. I mean, there's really, I would say, trying to keep your, obviously your look and feel as consistent as you can. I know the formats are changing and your label sizes are probably changing, but trying to keep everything as consistent as you can. I mean, that's really all you can do until things sort of start to open up and you get more flexibility.
Okay. And I have been able to maintain the same label.
Yeah.
And one thing that I am trying to do is I do some specialty limited edition flavors that are seasonal. So I'm trying to put those in the quote pretty jars.
That's a good idea.
And then put the kind of the basic stuff in the other jars as best I can. But okay, well, thanks. It's just it's a challenge.
Yeah, no, you're thinking about it in the right way, and sort of, and then also transparency with your customers, as much as you can, sort of around your challenges, and sort of, don't worry, it's the same product, it's just in a different jar. Still the same great Miss Ruth's jams, it's just in a different jar, and just making sure. But I would hope that especially smaller producers are have some grace with their customers, as everyone knows that they don't know specifically that there's like a glass bottle shortage of glass bottle style 4536 or whatever, but you do hear about supply chain and sort of how COVID's been impacting that. So hopefully you're getting some grace there too.
Yeah, my customers are great. Thank you so very much. I appreciate it.
You bet. Thank you. Any other questions?
I guess not.
That's okay.
Yeah, I actually have one, Dennis and Andy.
Yes, sir.
I don't know how it really will come into play necessarily with the class. I think it's kind of a unique situation for us. We make over 100 different dry ingredient food mixes, dip mixes, dessert mixes, rubs, seasonings, soup mixes, beer breads, that type of thing.
Mhm.
90% of our sales come from wholesale distributors that we sell to. We have a network about 200 and some distributors in 41 states that we sell to. And they primarily go out and market at farmers markets,
Sure.
street festivals, craft shows, that type of thing. So the labels that we provide, and we allow them to private label our products. So
Yeah.
we either send it with our label or unlabeled, and they put their own label on it. The labels that we use is something I designed in-house quite a few years ago, and they've worked well in that selling environment because it kind of looks like a homemade type item.
Sure.
My question is, and here's one of our dip mixes, just
Yeah.
to give you an idea of what I'm talking about.
Got
And
it.
my question is, as we try to expand our retail market, I know this isn't going to fly. We need to have something that looks more in-store ready commercial. So what is really the most cost-effective way for a small business like ours to go about doing that?
Yeah.
Is that a loaded question?
Yeah, well, it really, you would, I mean, the most cost effective thing you can do is to hire a professional to do it right the first time.
Of course.
And that, but that is, just depends on your perception of cost effective. But no, I think in thinking about years, it's not, I mean, it is different than like the Whitley's project that I talked about, but it's still a lot of products. So really, first off, thinking about, because if you hired somebody to design all 200 of them or whatever, that's going to probably be really expensive, especially if you're like, oh, our dips have this particular look and our bread mixes have this particular brand name or this look. If everything, you take a step back and sort of figure out, okay, if we're going into retail, what's our sort of brand strategy? Is it all going to fall under the same name and it's going to just be different types of product names? That's sort of going to be the differentiator. Because then you're talking about potentially, spending enough, hiring somebody to design a system, and then you can hire somebody else to step it out, basically do the production. Because that's the thing. There's conceptual design and then there's production design. And generally with the right instructions, a printer can do the production design, and they'll do it for very affordable, sometimes free, because they have your printing business. So that's how they're making their money, is through the print business. And and so they'll a lot of times offer those design services for free, but it's very limited. It's like, production design type of stuff. So I would just be very strategic about it. And I would invest the money in that initial strategy and sort of thinking through sort of what are all those products that you're trying to go to retail with, and then really think about, okay, well, what's going to be our best seller? That's going to be what we're going to sort of figure out, the most universal sort of like package. So like, obviously, that seasoning that you showed us, that was about that big, but I imagine maybe your mixes, maybe your like bread mixes are a carton, they come in a box.
Yeah.
So that might be, the best thing to tackle. And then thinking about, okay, well, let's translate that to that little label that goes across the top. Just really investing the time to come up with that system, and then potentially, hiring someone different to do the production design on it. Especially if you're talking about something that is, a ton of different products. But I think that would be the that sort of.
I think my reaction, John, would be to try to prioritize the different categories, right? You might start with one or two, and see how it goes and decide, hey, maybe we'll just go with this category instead of all 200. I don't think you have to necessarily just all of a sudden go all at once.
Yeah, it's a good.
Yeah.
That's
It's
kind of the
good.
way, that's kind of the way we're leaning, because 75% of our business is dip mixes, like I showed the package of. So, we make 46 different flavors, and that's primarily our bread and butter business.
Yeah. So it sounds to me like that's where you would focus
Yeah.
initially. I think Andy would be a good person to help you with, assuming he has the time. And I think also it's important, Andy, you can back me up on this, is which retail are you thinking about, right? Are you thinking about
That's good.
Food Lion, Lowe's, kind of semi-regional, or are you thinking Walmart, Kroger? I think that's part of the analysis that you have to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This, you talking about your, all the different flavors and seasonings that you do made me think of this project that we did for out of Spartanburg. This is the family who owns this Yep Shake also owns Blue Moon Market in Delhi, right there in like downtown Spartanburg. So they had this original label that was Yep Shake by Blue Moon, and it was sort of confusing, how what Yep Shake was. And so we worked with them on developing a whole nother offshoot of the brand and creating a standalone brand called Yep Shake. And as you can see, they have a lot of different flavors. So we came up with that system for them. And then they also have sauces too. So we sort of translated their sort of core product, which was their original seasoning, and then translated that into what would it look like on the sauces. And you'll see within the sauces, they have, a flask for their steak sauce. And then they've got these taller bottles, and then they've got the small hot sauce. So, it doesn't really help you sort of think through, like Dennis was saying, like the prioritization of it, but you can see sort of how we solved for all the different flavors that they have here. Yeah.
Well, you know what I say about that, Andy? I say, yep.
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 Yeah. It was a really fun brand. And if you're ever in Spartanburg, they have.
Looks like you, John, kind of in a different life.
Yeah, there you go.
his nickname is Wishbone. But yeah, that's the founder.
John's a Yankee. He would never be Wishbone.
But yeah, they're a fun crew, and that was a fun project to work on. But yeah, seasoning's hard because there's just so, like you just said, there's like so many out there.
Right.
Like you have such variety that it's tricky to sort of, how do you build consistency in the brand, but then also variation. So the person who loves your ranch flavoring or your original flavoring doesn't accidentally pick up your spicy buffalo or whatever.
Well, and I guess where we're at is we keep coming back to 90% of our business is wholesale, and it works the way it is right now. So the retail end of it, we sell on Amazon and eBay, and we're doing live stream selling, and all that seems to work okay with our existing packaging and labeling. So, do we even need to do anything?
Yes, you do, John. Yes,
we do. Okay.
Yes, sir. Make no mistake.
It really,
that's just Craig's personality coming through on the live stream. It had nothing to do with the packaging.
it really, I think that, you've been doing this. Yeah, I assume, you all, with the amount of business that you have on the wholesale side, have been doing this for a while, but a lot of newer brands think that the easy way on is through your own website, your own e-commerce, D2C, Amazon, and not necessarily through traditional retail. And it it's so expensive to stand out from the crowd, as you probably know, trying to get traction on Amazon and on your own website. I mean, at least Amazon people are actively going on there. Your own website's just floating around, and unless you're paying a lot for Google ads and Facebook ads and that kind of stuff.
Well, Andy, you'll be pleased to know that John and his family run a live streaming e-commerce show twice a month on Pop Shop Live.
Wow,
it's phenomenal.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, they're pioneers in that. I'll have to send you a link because they're unbelievable. They have these shows, and John's son Craig is like a superstar. He's spinning a wheel like Vanna White. He's joking with people, and they sell a hell of a lot of stuff live on live stream.
That's the neat. I love that because that's sort of the innovative stuff that that a lot of smaller brands are doing, being creative, because we don't really have to be beholden to traditional media anymore. That's the guy that I showed you, the client, the Ha Snacks. He's exploring and trying to get out of his comfort zone and do a lot of TikTok videos and really have fun with that. This morning, I spent a good part of this morning trying to come up with so that mouth, that's on his packaging. I'm working on, actually, I can show this. I'm working on making it a custom Instagram filter, Facebook filter. So here you can see this real quick. Yeah, here we go. So I was just playing with it today. So you can see so we would upload this to the to his Instagram, and then people could superimpose the Ha mouth on their face, and do little stories and selfies and that kind of stuff. But obviously still sort of working out the
cool.
the key here. But it's really fun when you can sort of start to play with, and this is a tool that Facebook, it's sort of similar to like an Adobe suite, a creative suite, but it's through Facebook, and they sort of give you a lot of the tools to sort of out of the box create these. So I guess this is my long way of also saying, building off that creativity aspect of doing the live stream selling. We're trying to think through all this stuff too for our clients, through digital. We don't do any kind of like social media ad buying or strategy, but we do try to supply the assets to really bring the brand to life. Because it's that mouth is fun. It needs to be on people's faces. It needs to be out there in the world. Yeah. And so we're trying to figure out how to do that.
Yeah. Well, we might be able to help because we're doing a lot with live streaming. So in our situation, we're using apps that you don't have to leave the app to make the transaction. You stay in the app.
Nice.
And right from the live stream. And it even works when the live stream is not live. People can buy after the show as well. So there's some
like a bunch of little mini QVCs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's only better.
Only better. Yeah. That's very cool.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to wrap this up in a few minutes, but
thank you, Andy.
Thank you.
Anyone else want to bring up anything, even if it's not food related? Because Andy knows about everything, as far as I'm concerned. Okay.
How about with marketing music and clothing?
Oh, wow. Oh man, I don't know, but I did just get we that I don't know. I wish I did, but I'll tell you this: we got a Grubhub delivery the other day, and the guy said, "Do you like?" He was like, "Do you like old school hip hop?" And I was like, "Sure." And he gave me a little card with a QR code, and I downloaded his. I mean, it took me to whatever streaming service, Apple Music or whatever, and I've been listening to it since. And so I thought that was really cool. I was like, I mean, I would do that with anybody. Just that was sort of a creative way to get his music out there. I would have never come across his music. So that's a little anecdote, but I don't know. I mean, the more you can be active on obviously social media and things like that. And then like I see as far as clothing goes, you know, doing these like limited run drops, you know, where you like build a lot of like anticipation and
Yeah.
you have this like launch day. And then when it sells out, you might have 25 of them or whatever.
Yeah.
When it sells out, it sells out. So yeah, I wish I could tell you more.
Yeah, we
Thank you.
yeah, we're
you bet.
working on a lot of that that stuff. So we're glad to see that we're kind of on trend. So that's great.
Cool.
So Andy, I'll make sure Andy's contact information is
Yes.
in our system.
For sure.
Anyone else have any more thoughts or questions you want to ask Andy before I let him go? Because I know he's busy. I don't want to monopolize all his time. Okay.
All right, great. Well, thank
Andy,
you all
thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you once again for such great insights and great process. And you know, we talk a lot about brand and brand development, brand story, brand strategy. And I think you heard from Andy that, you know, his company goes way beyond just designing the package. They think through a lot of the things that you need to think through as a brand. And particularly if you're somewhat established, you've got customers now, and you want to grow, I think the approach that Andy and his wife take is really, really helpful and a proven model that's worked for a lot of years. So thank you, Andy.
You bet, Dennis.
All right.
Thank you so much. Thanks everybody for being a great audience and
Thank you.
luck with everything.
All right. We'll see everyone tomorrow. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.